So I've been trading Bitcoin here for about 8 years, and currently I'm up here about 340,000 US dollar here on my Bitcoin and crypto long positions. I mean, just look at that, 345,000 US dollar. I'm trading here Cardano, Solana, Ethereum, and of course my biggest position over here is Bitcoin. And just to be clear over here, guys, I expect the Bitcoin price to continue to rise much further here to the upside in the coming few days and weeks and probably months here moving forward. I'm looking here to close this position probably on over $1 million here in profit, and I'm not looking to close this position anytime soon. So I just wanted to get it out there so there's no actually confusion on what I'm actually doing, and I just want to be able to understand, okay, this is exactly what I'm doing. Now, guys, in this video I'm going to talk about some charts which are going to blow you away. It's the reason why you're going to have to watch the video all the way through the end. But there were some people watching the last video, and some people still think that we're in some kind of a bear market, or some people are thinking that this trade is going to be stopped out. Now, guess what, guys? Again, I've been trading Bitcoin for quite a long time, and I have a very high conviction that we are about to break much further here to the upside. So we have broken most of the volume profile here indicator that I talked about a couple videos ago. We don't really have any kind of resistance now. If I look at the funding rate, we are here in a negative funding rate cluster. We really have momentum build up. Historically, this is just a classical continuation to the upside. So I will continue to hold this position. And if you also have high conviction that we are about to raise much further here to the upside, I have a sign up link in the description here for the BTCC exchange. You get a 10% deposit bonus. And again, I'm looking to add to this position. I think we are about to go and roll into a much bigger move. And I think you should be prepared for that. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, but if you do have high conviction, I have a link in the description again to sign up on BTCC exchange, non-KYC exchange, which means people in the US and whatever other countries can also use it. Do your own research, but I'm just offering it here to you guys. I'm an official partner with them, and I am trading on their exchange. So anyway, the big indicator that I want to talk about here in this video is over here the price cycle indicator. Before I'm going to talk about that, I want to talk here a little bit about the M2 money supply. There were a little bit of people here on X that were saying that this indicator doesn't really work, yada. Now, this is just a classical liquidity indicator. Basically, it shows you that the money supply is growing. There are multiple M2 money supply. Well, there's the M0 money supply, M1 money supply, M2 money supply, and then there's the M3 money supply. And I'm pretty sure there's also an M4 money supply. So there's all sorts of different money supply and different metrics. But at least the M2 money supply, it shows you the liquidity. And if you just overlay it here with the Bitcoin price, and you actually delay it here by about 80 days. So I delayed over here this indicator to about 80 days. You can see it exactly lines up over here with the Bitcoin price. I mean, you see the liquidity going up, the Bitcoin price follows, you see it going down, the Bitcoin price crashes. It is quite insane how high we are currently going. Now, of course, some people are posting this chart. They were saying, oh, Bitcoin is going to go to 180,000 US dollar. That's not really how this indicator exactly works. But you do see the liquidity spiking here to the upside, which is a setup for a much bigger move to the upside. Now, how high, it's questionable. But I think at least, well, if we've broken far here beyond here the previous high. So I think we are able to take out this all-time high. And as we know here from historical Bitcoin price action, the moment that we break out-time high, hype kicks back in, people start buying, it gets on the news, and generally speaking, it's a setup for a much bigger move to the upside. So we can see the same thing over here, where we broke the all-time high back in, this was not March, this was November, and we broke it, and look at this, boom. Big liquidity pull here back to the upside. So I think something similar like that is also going to happen, and that's why I'm positioning myself here in this massive long position, and I'm potentially looking here to add as well. If we're going to break it all-time high, we're going to have a massive liquidity pull here to the upside. So I'm expecting that. And the M2 money supply, a little bit of debates about this, but I think it's generally speaking just a good indicator here where the Bitcoin price goes, and it is here to the upside. Now, going to talk here about the big indicator over here on this video. This was a little bit of an interesting find that I actually found. It's called the price cycle indicator. Generally, there's the classic price cycle indicator, which is just these MAs. And whenever they cross, generally speaking, we see a Bitcoin top or a Bitcoin bottom. And the price cycle has been completely correct here last cycle. I ignored it. My mistake. I didn't ignore it this cycle. I actually bought a little bit lower compared to the price cycle bottom. I bought it at 70,000 US dollar. I posted it on Twitter, by the way. If you think that I'm making it up, that I predicted the bottom on the day, I predicted the bottom on the day. I have tweets on that on Twitter. Just go back, set your time to whenever the bottom was, and I was just posting a bunch of tweets that the Bitcoin price bottom was in, went into a massive long position, bought spots, also on YouTube as well. Bought like a couple Bitcoin on Binance, which I also shared here on YouTube. So again, I'm very legit on that, but you can just find the sources. They are somewhere on YouTube and on X as well, formerly called Twitter. Anyway, I bought a bunch of Bitcoin, just kept holding them. They're up an extremely big amount, so that trade as well, I'm still holding that. That's absolutely doing here amazing. Now, basically what this indicator is about is it basically shows you when the pi cycle are about to cross, but instead of just showing this as these MAs, it shows you it as like an RSI or an oscillator or whatever you want to call it. And so what we can actually see here is that whenever we break over here towards this red line, and then we cross back here to the downside, then generally speaking, the pi cycle has crossed, and that indicates a Bitcoin top. We can see it over here around this red area. When this indicator over here, it goes into a cross, you can see they come together, you get inside this overbought area, and you have this big correction to the downside. We can see the same thing as well over here in this green area. So of course, we were oversold, we eventually flipped here, we crossed the pi cycle, and eventually we moved here back here to the upside. Now, what this indicator over here shows us right now is that we're somewhere mid-cycle, which is a theory I've had it for the last couple of months basically, is that this of course isn't going to be the Bitcoin all-time high. We are probably somewhere mid-cycle. Like, it makes no sense here for the funding rate to be negative on the Bitcoin all-time high. So we know from historical price actions that if we haven't hit all-time high yet, that means we're just going to have still a big liquidity puller to the upside, which means Bitcoin can go up to like 150, 170, 200,000 US dollar in the coming few months. And this indicator also is showing that we are just somewhere mid-cycle. And I think it's unbelievable for a lot of people that we're going to go as high as 200,000 US dollar. But I think that if I look at all the indicators and the theory that I've actually had is we're somewhere mid-cycle. Now, if the pi cycle starts crossing and all the other indicators I've been talking about here for the last couple of days, I might change my mind. But so far, we're nowhere close to some of these big long-term indicators actually signaling a big correction to the downside. And again, probably the most important one is just the funding rate. And it makes no sense for the Bitcoin price to have an all-time high and then have negative funding rate. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. It makes no sense in my book that people are going to exactly short the all-time high. We always see the opposite. We've seen this every single cycle. You look at the funding rate, it's always heavily positive around the all-time high. So we know that, and that's why I'm so confident here in this trade. And that's why I'm also saying, if you have high confidence, I mean, check the link in the description. Sign up on BTCC Exchange, you get the deposit bonus. I'm only getting it because, well, you're only able to get it because you were actually partnered with the exchange. So it's something the exchange gives for, basically for me, for my audience, because I'm loyal to the exchange. They basically give you guys here a 10% deposit bonus. Take advantage of it. If you are going to be trading, if you are going to be going into a long session, get the 10% deposit bonus. You get 10% to actually trade with, and you can get a 10% more profit as well. So the link is in the description. It's just very simple to use. And again, I have high conviction. We are going to move it to the upside. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a random guy on the internet. I make these videos for fun, but I don't see any way how we're going to move here further to the downside. And especially we break the all-time high here. It's just going to be over for the bears. Like, this is going to liquidity pull here to the upside, and you're going to be looking at like 120K in just a matter of days. So that's what I'm hoping here. If we do get that, I mean, this trade is easily going to be over $1 million, and then if I can keep holding it, maybe it's going to make $2 million. So let's see what's going to be happening. Again, we have the funding rate on the side, all the indicators here on the side. So I'm continuing to hold empty money supply as well, pointing in the direction that this thing is about to have a big liquidity pull to the upside. So I'm waiting and I'm being patient, but yeah, that's it. Everything I want to talk about. So hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.